Today we're touring Hill Country Hot Peppers in Wimberley, Texas. This family business is extremely diverse and growing year after year. Stick around to see how they take their peppers from seed to sauce and hear firsthand what it's like to run the place. If you'd like to order any of the goodies you see in this video, check the description box below for a link to their website and let David know that we sent you.
My wife and I had the dream that after, of course, COVID started, we came up with the dream that, one, I don't want to be dependent on someone who could fire me, because I have to put food on the table, and how do I make this self-sufficient and run it so it generates crop and everything for us to live off of. The solution was get a farm and go into the family business. Welcome to D2 Farms. That's formally what the farm's name is. I'm a 5th generation rancher farmer. This kind of runs in my blood. We run year round. I specialize in hot peppers, everything from jalapenos to Carolina Reapers. I have 2 acres of Mourvedre grapes, and I run 2 greenhouses. I have a full shop that we start everything from seed. So we started this dream about almost 4 years ago, and have come a long way.
What do you guys do?
We're using the natural soil that was on this property. The downside of it is it's nutrient depleted because this place was a cotton and hay field before. And over the years, cotton, it's a great crop. It makes our clothes, but it pulls everything good out of the earth, and we're left with great soil with no nutrition. What we've started to do is we add in organics, so mushroom compost that comes from Gonzales, Texas. I bring it in by the truckload. I spread it, and the only thing that we put in our field is natural elements. I'm actually currently in the process right now. I'm looking into goats or sheep to actually be my weed eaters in that field. They will live there full time when crop is in the ground, crop is not in the ground. And the way you train them is actually you train them first on the vine. I first have to work on the vines with them because it is very easy to replace a pepper plant. One of those vines is not so easy to replace. So you train them on the vines first, you get them to eat the vine, and then immediately you make them get sick. They register that in their head as, I should not eat that, and they won't touch it ever again.
Do you tell them like a nasty story, or punch them in the jejunum, or how do you get them to go sick?
You do all three. You feed, you pull the leaves down, and you feed them out of a bucket.
And then they have
in
no
that
trust.
bucket, you actually have something that makes them instantaneously get sick. And they will recognize that that leaf makes me get sick. No.
Awesome.
And so we're in the midst of that. So right now, animal-wise, so I'll go into the animal side of things.
Sorry.
So the animals I have here are horses and chickens currently. I'm down to the lucky 3. We started with originally 18. Actually, for Christmas, I gave my wife another round of chickens.
No.
My requirement is that we added some ducks in because I would like to eat some duck. So I have 4 horses here. There's 4 out of 18. They are all polo horses. I come from a polo rodeo family. These are the lucky 4 that have retired and get to just relax and eat. So they're kind of my extra lawnmowers when I don't have time. Our greenhouses are over there. They're 100 feet by 30 feet and completely enclosed. In the next couple days, they'll get closed up and get ready for the next round of plants. So we bought these high tunnels. It came with the top, the roll down faces for the north and south end. and that's all it came with. The rest of the structure we built after. All the square tubing, that was all done by us, just because also when you put those ends down, those zippers don't hold when we get a strong north wind. They blow open, and we tried every bit of anchoring known to man and could not get them to stay.
Yeah, and even if you do, they're going to end up tearing.
Correct. So we ended up coming up with this idea, and it was also good for critter proofing come the summer. It's worked out really well. Last year our greenhouse didn't move a single inch, and it's because I rolled down these sides, I put plywood on top of this fabric, and it gets secured actually right between these panels. So I have bolts and washers that literally sit just like this, and it holds against this. This structure is not, and this structure is going to outlive all of us, even our kids. I have a rogue tomatillo plant. We don't know where it came from because we have not planted tomatillos at all. But it appears every year in the same spot in the field, and you can't kill it. This year, what we did with this greenhouse is we did a trial run with melons. So that is one of our staples that we grow every summer. We do watermelons and cantaloupe. And this year, with the crazy weather we had, I said, to hell with this. We are gonna grow melons in a greenhouse. See if they like it. Watermelons hated it until the very end. Cantaloupe, I had cantaloupe coming out my ears. This first plant right here is an Israeli cantaloupe, one of the best cantaloupe. I don't know if y'all are melon people,
I love watermelon.
One of the best cantaloupes you'll ever have. So we chose grow bags, one because of the breathability of them, two because when your root structure goes down, if it's in plastic, what it'll do is just create a ball, and it just becomes a hard ball that when you go to transplant it, you have to be very careful. With the grow bags, the roots will actually relax and go out, and they'll hit the wall of the grow bag and stop. And so instead of getting this giant root ball, you'll actually pull it out of the bag. Actually, I can show you. Better example. Who's going to be the patient today? You will. This plant is over 2 years old. So, I have nice, beautiful roots with a really consistent structure. My tap roots, the bigger roots are your tap roots, so they're going to send down. That kind of is the stabilization of the plant. And you have all the little feelers, the smaller ones. Don't hold me to correct names here because I'm a farmer, not the scientist. It just continues to get really bushy like this. So normally what you would see is all this would be, literally a ball like that.
It has a hard time actually.
Correct. So you put this in the ground. If it was in plastic, you'd put this in the ground, and it takes weeks for it to, if it even uncoils itself. Most of the time the plant just goes, well, I'm going to send a new taproot here and restart all the taproots. Well, that delays you by weeks. I throw this in the ground. It's already spread out, and it goes, wait a minute, you just gave me about 100 more feet to grow. So we have 7 rows, starting with Jamaican red Scotch bonnets. We had Texas big yellows, Texas big reds, Carolina reapers, ghost peppers, Dorset nagas, and chocolate habaneros. Which the I was pointing this to you last time you were here, is we have some rogue chocolate habaneros. I did not plant them in the granite gravel. They appeared. And what's interested me about this is the fact that 1, they appeared. 2, they have survived all the cold snaps that we've had thus far this season. or this year. I like you. You can stay. You can hang out. Do what you're gonna do. I'm not gonna mess with you. This hasn't turned yet, but what it will do, this is of course a rotten pepper, but it'll turn this chocolate color, and the flavor on this thing, actually, nice cool temperature. It hasn't rotted out, surprisingly. The flavor on that is the best habanero you've ever ate in your life, but it's got heat. So this rolls in about 500,000 Scoville units. I'll give that just a sniff.
Oh yeah.
Like that, and very earthy, deep-toned, beautiful taste. First time I ever met my father-in-law, he introduced me to this pepper. But he introduced me by going, "David, do you like habaneros?" "Yes, sir." Handed me one of these and said, "Okay, well, go ahead and try that when you get home." So I went home, chopped it up, put it all over my plate of food. I'm trying to teach my kids, clean the plate. You don't get up from the table. Yet I just put one of those all over my food. And I had to sit there and eat my own words. Finished a painful plate. But then, sure enough, this became my favorite pepper. It's absolutely amazing. My father-in-law is actually my partner for Hill Country Hot Peppers. That is our pepper business. I sell fresh peppers all over the country. Mainly our target audience is hot sauce companies or pepperheads. But I also have a product line. I do hot sauces and hot pepper jellies as well, which y'all will get to see shortly when we go into the shop. And this year is going to be special. We're going to start selling plants as well. These are fully heated, fans run, lights I run are high pressure sodium ballasts, dual ballasts that I can interchange the lights. So I could go from high pressure sodium to metal halide.
This just changes your UV.
That changes my UV and my color spectrum, going from vegetative to fruiting.
So you're mimicking the changes of the season sun-wise.
Correct.
With the light. Okay.
Correct. And fully heated by propane. It's been an interesting and integral part to learn. Because peppers, the perfect temperatures between 75 and 95 degrees.
Nice and warm.
Yeah, but to make them to survive, you could hold them at 45 degrees. We learned that after we ran through about 1,400 gallons of propane and saw that bill, and I went, you know what? We have to make some changes here.
Their ends are kind of high.
Either one of the children is going to go out there and work a wood-burning stove,
Actually, my dad did suggest that. Actually, we just had that conversation.
Like a wood boiler or something like that?
Wood boiler.
Yeah.
That, or even I could put a wood-burning stove in here. I would have to build the roof correctly around it, because that would just melt everything in its sight. But
I like the boiler because it's a lot less work.
Yeah.
You can pipe. You just run those floaty pipes like you would for a normal HVAC, and then it's outside, and all you have to do is walk up and throw some wood in it. It's super efficient.
Yeah.
Like, how much do you get out of this per season? Like, how many? I don't know.
What's the yield, I guess?
It's different upon every varietal because every varietal has a different weight to it, depending on the pepper and the flesh. In peak season, I'm yielding a pound. I'm yielding a pound of peppers between every 2 plants.
Oh, wow.
And if every plant is producing in here, I believe I was yielding around 100 pounds a row.
Wow.
At peak.
Just counted, it's like 35 maybe?
35 to 36.
Okay.
Per
row.
Yeah, and actually in these 3 rows, they're longer by 3 plants. Just because I don't have anything in the way. But when we built this structure, we took in mind what I have to get in here. Harvesting is all done by hand. But if I need to move anything out, in, etc., I could get my tractor in here. It completely clears. I could get my truck in here. The truck getting in here now is a little tricky because the heater where it's mounted. But we took all that into account just because I want this to run as natural as it can. Since this has only been a couple years in this, we knew that we were going to have to tweak a lot. But once the tweaking is done, it goes kind of into autopilot.
Yeah, it's always better to build bigger and build with the future.
Correct.
Like we went with the giant doors on our barn door because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to drive in here.
I will tell you, anytime you build a barn, oversize your doors. You will regret every minute if you do not.
And build it.
That's that fifth generation farmer talking.
Yeah.
Build it bigger than you think because you're going to fill it immediately.
Yeah. How many times my wife actually looked at me, oh, well, those doors are going to be too big. I went, no, you have no clue what if I have to work on the tractor in the middle of a storm, etc., I want to be able to pull into the barn, work on it. Not, okay, I got to do this outside. I'll do it outside.
Awesome.
Cool.
We can continue.
Yeah. Let's see these grapes.
We can do that.
So you have grapes, peppers.
Grapes, peppers.
Any other enterprises?
So the melons. And this year, so we've always done flowers during the summer. But this year I'm going to actually interplant a ton of flowers between all my rows.
Nice.
One, it's going to do two things. One, I'm going to get a large number of bees to come pollinate. Number two, it's going to drive some of the pests away. So one of the pests that we face out here, actually the entire Texas Hill Country has faced a lot, is the cucumber beetle, spotted and striped. So it moved in 3 years ago, and it ruins your crop. Bores holes. It does everything in the sun. We're trying to make this as natural as we can. I don't want to spray anything. If I could get away from that, I will steer hard way away from it. After all the research, reading, etc., I learned that if I interplant certain flowers, so chrysanthemums, I always plant marigolds, always plant sunflowers. I'll interplant those every 5 rows, and it will act like a natural pest deterrent. And my wife and I, when we took on this adventure, we did a lot of research and a lot of homework and watched a lot of documentaries. And so we stumbled upon, actually my parents sent it to us, Biggest Little Farm. And that kind of became our goal of, we want to use everything on the land to put back into the land to make it grow, to make it self-sufficient.
Yeah, and I mean that's the plan. That's the plan that we were all given at the beginning. I don't know if you're Christian or not, but we were told.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
We're supposed to be stewards of the land. We're supposed to tame it and make it better, grow it, not ruin it and then strip it of everything and pump a bunch of growing products.
Correct. So this is a 15-acre block, 2 acres solid of vines. This is my newly planted section. This is my mature section. Vines, I don't know if you know much about vines, but it's on a leaf system. And so a leaf system is basically it gauges what year the plant is in, and that gauges production. So this year we did 1.6 tons off just 1 acre.
What exactly are you growing here?
Those are Mourvedre grapes, wine grapes.
Okay.
Now, does that come from somewhere?
So France. They originate from France. It's a varietal that actually does extremely well in the Texas Hill Country. It's not a picky vine. It's very relaxed. They do a little better with cold snaps and cold, the fluctuation.
How long do these things last for?
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. Okay, so they are like a perennial.
Correct. And so they go dormant. As soon as we have our first cold snap, they go dormant, and they will start waking up once we get out of the cycle. First is spring. These things become a whole new character. New growth, leaves, flowers. You have to be very careful with watering, very careful if it's a wet season. You prune more, and you have to pay attention to, if it's a wet season, you're paying attention to molds. Molds will take over a vineyard in days. Okay. And it's also because the canopy is so thick on them. Yeah. It's like this grass that we're standing in. Once that canopy takes off, it's thick.
So in a wet spring, these aren't something that, even though they're not producing anything yet, you wouldn't be able to just bounce and go on vacation for a couple weeks.
I have all kinds of stuff I could put through the lines that actually protects them during those seasons. That and what I'll do during a wet season. So all these nets that all these black lines that hang at the bottom, those are actually hail nets or bird nets. I could give you 14 other names. Those go up around. During a wet season, I won't put those up as early because I want that canopy to breathe as much as it can. And so in a sense, yeah, it does keep me from, okay, I can take a vacation. I'm gone for the next week. I'll cut that down to, okay, I could go away for a couple days. I'll be fine. And I do have a company that helps me.
Nice.
Our original 10-year plan had vines and hops and all the good, delicious things. We lucked out that we found the property that had vines on it.
Okay, so how old do you estimate these are?
So these are this is going to be their 6th year.
Their 6th year,
This coming up. The old saying of don't put all your eggs in one basket is the biggest key in farming, ranching, off-gridding, surviving off the land is don't count everything on one thing.
Yeah.
And so that diversity, it takes time. And sometimes not as short as other people want it to be. But I have had to explain it more than once of just, look, I want 40 different crops. I do. But I'm one guy.
Yeah.
And I do everything myself. I'm like, we're a team of 2. That doesn't include my wife when she comes to help, or my kids. My oldest is 11.
Okay, so you're getting close to having some more help.
Yeah, he's already helping a decent amount. But the day that I can literally go, hey, you're on the vines.
Yeah.
I need to be in the cattle pen or wherever. That day, I will be very grateful for.
We're having cake.
We're having some wine.
I will call everyone, including y'all, and go, hey, it's time. Bring out the alcohol and the cake.
Yeah.
I
know.
And
we're coming to Arkansas. We can go on vacation. You're staying home.
Vacation time. Yeah. That's a very nice, as they get older. I like being in the middle of nowhere for a reason. But doesn't leave you with very many babysitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have, that's the other thing too, is when you're talking about the diversification thing, obviously you need to be somewhat diversified on your own land so that you can survive yourself, but also is we're trying to do in Arkansas is kind of building almost an intentional community like we would, back in the day.
Yeah.
Where
everybody hops in the wagon and we all go to one place and make it work.
I want to have bison eventually. Maybe we are more geared or more heavy on the bison side, and our neighbors are they're into dairy, right?
Correct.
So they specialize in one thing, but they still have a little bit of diversification so that they can survive.
Correct.
And it all lends itself to everybody not being part of the system. We call them birdhouses. You spent, $1 million on half an acre and a giant house.
Yeah.
And all that thing is going to do for you in the future is property taxes are going to go up exponentially there, and you may get some equity out of that house later in life. But it's not making you any money while you're living in it.
Nope.
Right? Whereas here, you buy some property, you put some animals and some plants on it, and now it's actually making you money, and you made a business out of it, multiple businesses out of it, and you're actually enriching the land. So
I like what you touched on, because that you know, it's a philosophy I think that we've all gotten lost in, and I'm not going to sit here and point fingers at anyone but ourselves. But the whole barter system, borrowing system, hey, you're my neighbor, you do bison, I'm your neighbor, I do chickens. Hey, I'm running low on meat. Yeah. Can I trade you chicken for meat?
Yep.
Sure. Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But everyone has a little integral part. If we went back to that, we'd be in such a better place.
Before the 40s, I think it was like mid 40s, 47, 45, something like that, was when the first supermarket came out. And up until that point, and all in human history before that, this is how people lived. You didn't go to one place to get a whole bunch of stuff, especially when it's out of season because it came from another country. You ate what was in season and what your neighbor produced at maybe a farmer's market or directly from him.
Correct.
But then USDA got involved, and here we are.
Oh no!
It's a political video. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah, we're touching on the old times here.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing that drew me to being back in the middle of nowhere is I had to go to some of those old systems and old ways, and hell, I need help. I call my neighbor.
Yeah.
I can't. Oh, I'll run into town. That takes me 30 minutes to get into town and back.
I was just talking about that yesterday when we were canning. I said, in the next year, we're going to be spending a lot more time pulling stuff out of the freezer and canning it because we don't have refrigeration at the cabin. And it takes me 20 minutes, not including getting ready and getting the kid in the car, to get to the smallest grocery store you've ever seen that has a bunch of meat from Mexico with cows that look like God knows what. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's putting more, another, at least in that car, another opportunity to pop a tire and beat up the ball joints and CVs. And
our road sucks too, so it didn't make it any more appealing to drive.
Yeah.
Patch 2 and replace 3 on that thing when we were there last for not even 2 months.
Yep. No. When my other half and I started dating, we were living in Fredericksburg, and she learned how I went to the grocery store. I bulk shop. And the reason I bulk shopped is I'm 30 minutes from town.
Yeah.
By the time I go to town, do the shopping, turn around, drive back, unload it, I'm looking at 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm being nice to myself, saying that I'm moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
But
well, then you're tempted to stop everywhere else that you need onesie-twosie things because you're there.
Oh, yeah. And it's, I'm in town. What do I need for
hardware.
This?
Yeah.
What do I need for this? And my list goes from, okay, I just need milk and this, to, I need milk, this.
Yeah,
okay,
it'd be nice to have
I need
some
to
more of
spend
that.
3 hours in the grocery
So
store.
I got to bring a trailer.
Yeah.
Which, I've done those runs. And we still live that way. We bulk shop once a month. And that is, your grains, everything that is shelf stable. And we try to get everything we can from locals, not the supermarket.
Question: How old are these? Because you planted them when you first got here, right?
These are 3 years old.
3 years now. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Man, they really shoot up.
Oh,
No, it's good.
Hey.
Growing slow is a good thing.
The first 3 years of their life, it's the most painful process to look at, just because you're going, did my investment actually work?
So these are pest guards?
So these are just grow tubes that we put around, so when we're weed eating,
gotcha.
that we don't hit and we don't hit the plant. These are just to protect them when they're young. We'll pull them. Obviously, and I just cut this before Christmas. this section, and this needs to get cut. But after I do a cutting, I'll come in here and weed eat, or hire someone to weed eat for me, because
That's tedious.
it's 440 feet all the way down to the end, and there's 10 rows of it, times 2.
Yeah, your neck and back would be,
Yeah.
would be like walking around like this the rest of the
Yeah.
day.
The mature side is really easy because, okay, there's the vine.
Yeah.
This side, I have to be a surgeon. Of literally, okay, that's a blade of grass. Nope, that's not a blade of grass.
Yeah. Get some kids out here with clippers.
So, well houses.
Well houses. So we have 2 well houses. We have a operating ag well that supplies everything on this side of the cattle guard, and it's actually that building right there. Nice oversized building for a well. So we have a small pressure tank, but I put in a commercial softening system, so all the water that comes, because we're on hard water.
Oh yeah.
And so I had to put in a commercial softening system, and it has a great flow rate. We're over 15 per minute. All the lines that come out here, it's an inch and a half, and then it dumbs down to an inch line. I'm trying to remember. I put in a lot of plumbing. Expert plumber here. Yeah, my plumbing work does not look pretty, but it functions the way it should and is sealed. Every row has a valve. Even through our pepper field, every row has a valve. Go back to the airport. So this year we dealt with a unfortunate issue. We had a soil contamination, and it started with our germinations. So we buy germination. We have always bought germination soil, and we bought the same soil from the same people, and it was tainted with herbicide. We were supposed to have 2 full acres worth of plants. We just made an acre marked by like 4 plants. In addition to that, I think, what we saw this year was the stunted growth due to that. The plants that did survive that contamination, I just think they were permanently stunted. There was no way around it. That and our lovely weather. So so this year, the weather that we faced was, we had a good cold snap last winter. Spring was very mild. Then summer turned up the heat, and we didn't come out of the triple-digit degrees from about May all the way till September. I did not see a temperature go below 96. Even waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it was 90-something degrees already. We set flowers actually earlier than I thought, but just the persistent weather, the plant was in survival mode. We didn't start harvesting until October. I'm normally harvesting in July. So I had from October till right after Thanksgiving. That was my harvest. With peppers, you can continual harvest.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Normally, we pick everything at peak ripeness. After peak ripeness, a week is typically the laydown time before you pick again. During the prime of our season, I can't keep up. I could pick 7 days a week for a week straight. Yeah, peppers are very unique. That and you think you picked everything and open the bush and go, wait a minute, I've missed 100 peppers. So I have 30 different varieties out here. So this is going to be Jamaican Scotch bonnets, red and yellow. And at the very end of this last row is Papa Dreddies, which is another Jamaican Scotch bonnet sub-varietal within the varietal. Chocolate habaneros, red Caribbean habaneros, Guatemalan habaneros. That is one of my favorite habaneros. It has every bit of the flavor. The heat is kind of mild on it, but that is, in my opinion, because I'm crazy. Ají habitos, which is a pepper from South America that we grow, really fleshy. It's about the size of your average habanero, but the flavor on it it's out of this world. Then we have ghost peppers, another 2 rows of ghost peppers, row of Dorset Nagas, which is it's a cousin to a ghost pepper, but from Pakistan, and has about 500,000 more Scovilles of heat.
Just a little bit.
Just a wee bit. This block is the most interesting because this is our own pepper that we created. So this is a cross, we believe, between a Carolina Reaper and a Jamaican Scotch Bonnet. We dubbed it the Texas Big Red and Texas Big Yellow. It's an absolutely amazing, huge, fleshy pepper. Has all the great flavor.
So obviously these are wilted.
Correct.
How much bigger than one of those guys does it actually get? Like
So
half the size of a
about
bell pepper almost?
About this big in my palm. Almost 3/4 of my palm.
Wow.
That's the normal size of them. We've been growing these for 7 years. Or no, 5 years. But we were on different properties.
Okay, gotcha.
Our Hill Country Hot Peppers was on different properties.
Okay.
We almost moved to Fredericksburg. Moved back home. This very last row, this was our Carolina Reapers. And then we have the mildest that we grow, jalapeno, Fresnos, bell peppers, Brazilian starfish. Yeah, we use bell peppers in 2 of our sauces. Part 3 of David's businesses here is I run an Airbnb. One of them came up to me and, I'm really interested about your field. Could you show me the field? And I love to talk. I love to show you. No problem. And he started asking me all these questions of where, I'm an amateur farmer. By that, I mean, I have like 100 feet, 100 foot by 100 foot box. That's what I grow all my stuff in. And asked me every question in the sun. Where do you get your soil? I mean, and typically, I will tell you where I go, what I do. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to ruin my business. But typically, I start by, okay, I sourced it out of this place. And told him where I sourced it from, and he goes, please tell me you don't go to these people. And I knew instantly something was wrong. He was actually the one that told me that the soil was tainted. This was on a Sunday, so I had to wait till Monday morning to call the company. Called the company. It took me about a week to get in touch with the owner. And we're still in a roundabout with that. He knew because he knew a person who bought tainted soil. And they killed 25 acres with it. There's a combination of probably 30 of us right now. We're the second people to come forward. I just don't want this to happen to anyone else, is my point. At the end of the day, I have a 4th job. My 4th job is making sure that this land runs the way it is supposed to. Anyone put in anything tainted, I want to stop. We went into full-fledged taking baby germinations that aren't ready for 4-inch pots and putting them in 4-inch pots. There's only so much soil I could take off a root system without compromising it. And when a plant is young, it's introducing oxygen to roots is good for the roots. But when they're a baby, it will actually kill them. You want a perfect ratio. I'm a farmer, not a scientist again. but so we lucked out. It didn't make it into the field at all. But this was our 2nd acre part of our plot that we were going to do originally this past season. And so I just got done tilling that and cutting the block over there. Come next spring, this entire space will be full of peppers and flowers and everything in the sun. So if you need some flowers, I got you. My family runs a ranch in Fredericksburg, Cinco Canyon Ranch, and we run exotics.
Okay.
There's there's exotics, which classify in anything that's out of the state or out of this country, and then there's super exotics, that's where your zebra, wildebeest, etc. would come in. I've had zebra. I don't have zebra anymore. Yes. That's being very nice about them. One of the things I'm specialized in is elk. And that was my dad's dream 20 years ago. I want elk in Texas. I raised some of the biggest elk that you will ever see. A whitetail that you would find in Arkansas is going to be big-bodied, maybe, a decent size. Actually, Arkansas, yeah, y'all are going to have a good-sized rack. In Texas, they're small-bodied, big head. Well, and we have tried the whitetail game. And the whitetail game in the state of Texas is humongous. People will pay stupid money to go shoot a whitetail and put 90 pounds of meat on the table. I'd rather shoot the big animal that puts hundreds and hundreds of pounds of meat in my freezer.
Maybe it's just the people I've talked to, but is it normal for a lot of people that hunt to not even like to eat with their hunting?
That is extremely normal. It's insane. It's insanity.
They're probably the same people that overcook their meat. They're like, oh yeah, I'll have a steak. Can I get it well? And you're like, what's wrong with you?
We have a saying in the kitchen. That's what we call a hockey puck.
Yeah.
And when a well-done order comes in like that, you cringe. I still cringe to this day. You want that? No. You just ruin? No.
This isn't 1920 where your animal's sick and you got to burn all the parasites out of it.
No.
Even then, you still shouldn't have been doing it.
Correct. But no, what you asked is extremely common, and it's broken down into two things. There's hunters that go out that want to provide and put meat on the table, and there are hunters that are doing it for a trophy on their wall. And then there's the combo of you get both.
Which I think that's the healthy combination.
Yeah,
in my
and
opinion. You're gonna have a combination.
I've always hunted to put meat on the table. Do I shoot trophies? Yes. But that meat is still going on my table.
One dude, kind of like what we want to do, because I want to be as benign, neglectful as I can, right?
Yeah.
I guess you call that efficient, whatever you want to call
Correct.
it. Where they're doing a meat operation. They're not doing calf cow for bison, but they're not doing 18 months. They're doing 2-3 years.
Correct.
At least. The meat industry or the people that the other ranchers are looking at them like they're crazy, or oh, that's going to be terrible. It's you're talking about you're talking about 6 months to a year difference. All that's going to do is mature the animal more, and if anything, you'll get more marbling on them. I don't see what the problem is with that.
They're honestly how to properly say this. Not greedy, but just impatience, and it's played such a big role in today's meat industry. And the biggest issue with that is, okay, you raise a cow, I'm gonna raise it for 9 months on the dot, and then it goes to the slaughterhouse. Okay, that's great. You cut cost in your feed, you cut cost everywhere. But if you were to wait 2 years, the animal's gonna be double the size, and you're gonna get probably the same per pound what the house is gonna charge. You're gonna get on twice as much meat. So to me, yield twice as much.
Yeah, we need more whiskey distillers into the meat industry because they know the long game. They sit
Oh,
around
yeah.
and wait for years, decades even.
Oh yeah.
To
How
finally see the
how
deal.
old is that bottle? Oh, that's been sitting there in that barrel for the last 100 years. 100 years. Okay.
You planted the crop, if you planted the crop.
Oh, yeah.
You don't. And then you did all this processing, you got it to the point, and then you put it in a barrel and you just sit on it.
Yeah, I'd much rather have that 100-year sip than that 3-month sit.
Than Mexico meat.
Then
Yeah.
nasty white lightning. Ugh.
So this is our shop, wheeling peppers, everything in and out.
You get that hat. You get that hat.
Thank you.
Oh, this is obviously the main, the main work.
That is the main work vehicle. It is also great for doing donuts or drifting, whatever you fancy.
Whatever the job requires.
Correct.
Ooh.
So this is our production shop. Everything from maintenance to during the pepper season, putting our peppers come from the field, get cleaned, go onto drying racks, which I'll show you one that's set up out there. Actually, those elk antlers elk I was talking about,
Yeah.
those are the antlers that came from them. Those are just sheds.
It's like a tree. So you're saying these are sheds?
These are sheds.
We're on the ground?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Like compared to me,
You got enough material to make almost an entire rifle stock out of that.
I have made all kinds of stuff. Actually, one of the things I started making after my wedding
Knife scales.
was ranch brands. Actually, I had 2 in the shop still. But
That's killer.
custom
Wow.
handle,
That's very pretty.
all drilled out, sealed, oiled linseed oil. It's made so when you put your print against anything, you'll see your initials. The biggest key to creating any ranch brand, farm brand, homestead brand, and this is just my opinion. It being unique in something that's home to you.
Yeah.
And whether that's last name or if it's, hey, I'm obsessed with this damn tree, and I want to name it after this damn tree that is everywhere. When we were choosing, figuring out the name for this place, my dad and I bounced around a lot, and it was, let's go to where your roots are. The correct name is David Dixon Farms, but D2 for short.
That's cool.
And under that belt, I have another 3 that are actually all embedded in this. These are all peppers. When we pull peppers out of the field, we go into a couple different things. One, we sort on grade. We only sell grade A peppers. Anyone who's buying, they're getting grade A peppers. If it doesn't pass my check and his check, it doesn't leave the shop. We'll also take some of those, B grade and C grade peppers. We can use those still because it goes into our product.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be this gigantic pepper.
So the grade A.
Grade A
is
peppers. So grade
size, color.
phenotype.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, when you order a pepper online, I want this scorpion with a tail, that's what you expect to show up. Mm-hmm. And if you get something different, you're
Hosed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm getting you.
Yeah, I was
So
just watching a thing on like Business Insider and like all the different the top 11 most faked foods in the world, and it was like olive oil and all the other like saffron and all that stuff.
So
These are the bonnets.
yeah, Dorset Nagas, African
So
Fatales.
that's their mix.
Yeah. These are Papa Dreddies. So this is a subvarietal of Jamaican
smell.
Scotch bonnets. Yeah.
The
Even in the
smell.
cold, you can still smell it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ají habitos.
Those almost look like tomatoes.
Yeah,
They could be mistaken for
Especially that
tomato.
one. That was like a little circle, little tomato right there.
absolutely amazing pepper.
Yeah, hell of a gag.
Oh yeah. Oh, have this.
It's a delicious tomato.
Some tahini on it. Here we go.
But so we get done sorting, cleaning, separating, packaging for orders, and then we'll refill our stock. So we do two things for ourselves, or three things. So we do fermentations, we freeze them, and we dehydrate them. But we have 3 chest freezers filled to the gill.
So with the dehydrating, what do you do with the ones you've dehydrated?
So after they're dehydrated, I have bins that I put them in. I put air absorbers in there. So our moisture, not air absorbers.
I understand. The desiccants.
Yeah, basically moisture absorber so they stay crisp.
Mm-hmm.
And those are actually stored right here in our commercial kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like when I make pemmican.
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with that. Every time I say it, somebody's like, what? But that's like our, prep food for.
Correct.
I actually made like 75 pounds of it and brought it to Iraq with me. I was the weirdo that had my wife send me a 5-gallon pail of beef tallow.
Yep.
And people were like, what the heck is that? Like, it's beef fat. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm not eating all the crap that you're eating.
Yeah.
Slice them really thin with a deli slicer, put them in the drying rack, dry it off for a day, pull it out, grind it up, put it in a big tote with 2 desiccants, like Velcro to the top, and then I just go by every couple of days and shake it up a little bit, and then I come back to it like a week later, and it's like the driest, blackest non-meat you can possibly think of.
Yeah. These are commercial grade dehydrators. We bought these from my brother-in-law. He runs a dehydration company specializing in dehydrated fruits that go in cocktails.
Oh, okay.
This is what they use. During the peak of our season, these don't turn off. Mm-hmm. They're running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And you guys running? Okay, so you're running low.
Yep, we run 130 to 145 for 24 hours. You want to make sure that the peppers, when you dehydrate them, are completely dried and not cooked. If you overcook them, good crunchy additive you could put on top of stuff, but that's about it. They're burnt.
I think people really think you need like crazier equipment,
Yeah.
Because I know I was a little bit surprised, but it makes sense. It's not like if you want to do a ton more at once, but you don't want to run that much power.
Yeah. Well, so there's all these levels and slots. So
Yeah.
when you first begin, and depending on the pepper that you have in here, because we've played with keeping the pepper whole, dehydrating the pepper whole, or slicing it. What works better? Actually, slicing it works better because it's a more even surface area for it to dry out or dehydrate. But during the very beginning process, you're skipping a row, and you could go from top to bottom, skipping a row in between. Typically, you'll get at least half of this first run in 24 hours will be completely dry.
That's usually the top.
And that's usually the top. And there's been a couple funky times where the bottom's dry, the top is not. But after the first 24 hours, I could stack them even closer together. So I could utilize every spot.
I'm Woody.
Woody, I'm Ron Tilton.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, I like your hat.
Oh, thank you.
So this is our brand new commercial kitchen.
This is what got me last time. The shelves are amazing.
Oh, I like the shelves.
Yeah.
This is our functional working kitchen.
All right, so these are the okay.
These are the dehydrated peppers.
I'm filming.
Oh, yeah. Wow. These look beautiful. Oh, there's my refrigerator.
Oh yeah.
We have a true in our house.
Oh,
The only way to put it.
yeah, no, they're tanks.
Yeah.
They're
Well, my thing
so
was
awesome.
we got it during COVID, right? And our neighbor bought a new KitchenAid from whatever Lowe's or whatever, and it failed. And they couldn't get parts for it because they're all made in China. And obviously with COVID, all the supply chain issues that were man-made and not real. But anyway, they ended up having to buy another refrigerator. So it's like, well, what, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, we're getting a true. There were like 3 things in the shop or in the house that I was like, we have to have. I want a true refrigerator, I want a big old shop, and I want a urinal. So I got a urinal, I got all my things that I wanted, and she got everything else.
And that when I looked at fridges for this space, I wanted something big that could hold everything we needed, and I didn't have to sit there and tweak with things.
So we got our dried stuff here.
We have our dried stuff here. We have fermentations.
And so are those used in sauces? Or
Those are used in our hot sauces.
Okay.
So you don't have to can the stuff you bottle; it's fermented already.
So technically we don't have to, but because we have a manufacturing license, we have to pasteurize everything.
Okay.
So everything, even though it's safe.
Now, does it change the taste at all? Have you noticed?
So fermentation, and the longer the ferment, the sourer it becomes, which in some sauces benefits the sauce, in some it does not. We have sauces that have been fermented longer than the normal limits, you could say, because in 3 to 4 months, your lactobacillus, which that's what creates your fermentation, is pretty much done doing its job.
And it starts dying.
So then it just sits, which is, to me, I like the umami kind of taste that longer fermentation creates. Yes, it creates a sour note, but to me, it adds something very unique and a depth of flavor that you're not going to find at the supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting process, but then after we process everything and bottle it, we put it in a water bath.
Okay.
And bring it to 180, 200 degrees for 10 minutes.
180.
180.
Go over 180 for pasteurization.
Well, then we were at 200.
So does the pasteurization change the taste at all?
No.
Like if you guys so I'm assuming you use your stuff at home,
Correct.
right?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you ever do straight from the dried and just make like almost like a salsa kind of thing?
We have.
And is that totally different than like taste wise because you haven't fermented it and you haven't pasteurized?
So taste wise, yes.
Okay.
Just because that fermentation adds that kind of depth of flavor. When it's just, if we were to just take these straight peppers, reconstitute them, make a sauce, you're going to get the straight taste of the pepper and the heat. There's no more, unless you go depth of flavors and add this and that and that.
Roast some tomatillos, whatever.
Yeah. Green sauce.
Now what do you have in there?
So typically what we keep in here, anything that we're pulling out to go through the process of making jellies or hot sauces can sit in here. Also, if when we are making batches of hot sauce, etc., we like to let ours marinate a little bit, and so we'll set them overnight in here, and it'll keep it at temp.
Cold brew.
Yeah.
Ooh. All that.
Tasters that because once you open our product, we suggest that you refrigerate it. Even though I keep hot sauces in my truck, it's kind of my truck sauce.
When you're in a pinch.
They're great during the winter. During the summer, it gets a bit too hot in there.
Yeah.
So we have kind of the product side, or what goes into the product, then our product itself. 6 different hot sauces. We have about 12 plus jellies. We've been low on jellies and continuing to make them.
Yeah, see? No chemicals or preservatives added. And you can read the label. And they're all normal words.
Yeah,
Normal words and foods that you recognize as foods.
Yeah, nothing funky.
Yeah. So this side over here, what are these little things?
So this is rock wool.
Oh,
So this is actually how we are doing our germinations this year. So before we, we created a custom blend of soil. We put put the seeds in the soil, water, etc. They sprout. Because of last year's issues, we discovered rock wool. Actually, in addition to us talking about cloning.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we started talking about cloning, and he suggested. Of all things, he grew pot.
Okay.
And when you do,
there's a lot to be learned from people who grow pot.
But one of the techniques that they do in the pot industry to clone is they use rock wool. They take the clipping directly into rock wool
And saturate,
and
It's actually used in hydroponics, where rock wool is used everywhere. It's used as insulation in homes.
Yeah, that's what I know it from.
The hydroponics industry has used rock wool for a long time. Everything is soilless with hydroponics, and when you use rock wool, everything is soilless as well. We have it in. Have they been in the germination room?
No, we haven't gone there yet.
That's what I'm working on now.
Okay.
And you just grow the plants. Basically, that is spun limestone. It's like limestone cotton candy. And it's just, and then you make solutions that have all the nutrients that the plants need. So you feed through the root system constantly, and that's what they do with hydroponics. And here, we're doing away with soil in terms of seed germination, and even in terms of seedling growth. We transplant into 4-inch pots, and that's soilless as well. We switch from rock wool to coconut coir, which is ground up, dried up coconut husks. And then we mix that with other ingredients as well. Vermiculite, peat moss, perlite, those kind of things. And we're actually running experiments in there where we make that and then mix it 1-to-1 with dirt. Because ultimately we have to get our plants into dirt because they're going into the fields.
Yeah.
Well, we use it because it will absorb more. In fact, I'm about to soak those. Those get soaked in a very acidic solution because they're actually basic. They're made from limestone. You have to get rid of the lime. We use it because they hold water. They really do. These solutions now, pH comes right to 6.5. This is 6.7, but I'm using, this is the seedling. This is half the concentration, and it's at 6.7, so I have to pH down, but now I have it where it comes out right. As long as I'm using our restaurant water, at 600. I actually checked the water here at the well. That's well water. You want to guess what the pH is?
Well, you guys have hard water, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably pretty basic.
Basically would be 8, 8.5, 9.
11.
Amazingly, it's 6.7. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it goes through the potassium chloride step.
Yeah.
It must drop the pH in some way.
Yeah. It's been a long time since chemistry class.
Yeah.
I'm a chemistry major.
So I saw the thing on the board there, and I was like, I can't even tell you what that is.
You could literally sit here and watch him all day do this because he's everything down to the T.
Wow.
So it's unusual that we have to pH down, but actually I have the 1 molar hydrochloric acid.
Then our bottle. This is the wine that we make, or I have a winemaker make while all my permitting is going through.
Yeah, because I saw that. I'm like, that doesn't say.
Oh, yay, permitting.
Yeah. Future-wise, I would like to bottle and do all that right here. That I could do. Now, crushing the grapes, etc., I do not want to buy that machine. That's about that's as tall as the peak here in height, and I just don't want to build a space for that. That and for it to run once a year.
You could get an enormous silo.
I could.
Or you could hire a bunch of people, stomp on it, in the old.
I actually income generating right there.
Yeah, you could.
Pay to come stomp grapes.
Yes.
make my wine.
Yeah, because the hippies love that stuff. Not the hippies, whatever they call them now. Hipsters? I don't know.
The hipsters, the hippies.
That's a rich white lady thing to do right there. They run their half marathon and they come and stomp grapes. It was so great, Stephanie. You have no idea.
Yeah. We did a cold plunge before they let us stomp the grapes.
Polar bear plunge. This is a diversifying step right here, just because this runs independently of other. It doesn't cross path.
Yeah.
The only path it crosses is it's a crop that's grown. But harvest is fascinating with it. It takes 5 hours. Or it took 5 hours this past time.
To harvest?
To harvest 1.6 tons.
That's pretty fast.
There were 10 of us.
By hand into a bucket?
By hand into a 5-gallon bucket. And then it goes from a 5-gallon bucket into a bin. And originally we started that night with 3 bins. I predicted that we would need 2 more. I was off by a bit. But we got it done in 5 hours. The start of it, you're carrying 50 pounds. 1 pail is worth 50 pounds. You're carrying 2 buckets, so you're carrying 100 pounds. It was like deadlifting.
That's what it's called. That's what they call it, the farmer's carry.
Yeah. The true farmer's walk. I got my farmer's walk in for the year.
Mm-hmm. Germinations?
So this is our germination room.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, we keep it at a pretty constant 70
and 80. We don't go above 80.
Were these the ones that were started when I was here last? Oh,
Correct.
Man. These are so cute.
Yeah, these are 10 days old. And in Rockwool, we have about a 50% germination rate here. There's 420 cells, and we have slightly over 200 cells with plants. Some of them have multiple plants.
Yeah, I remember seeing you do 2 at a time last.
Yeah, well, we put one in the hole, and I create another hole. And that's just to ensure that every cell, we end up with a success rate of greater than 85-90%.
Wow.
Because we count on numbers of plants that we're going to get from here.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is just pick the healthiest plant and cut the other one out. You can't separate them or anything because they're growing together.
Most painful part for me.
In the Rockwool. But normally
taking one because we'll put 2 seeds in a well.
Oh yeah.
And so you have to clip one out.
So
I don't know which one.
This accelerates everything. Normally, if we were doing this in dirt, we wouldn't have germinations until 21 days, a month. And here we're 10 days out, and we have a 50% germination success rate at this point.
So when you guys buy your Rockwool, are you buying it from a source that's specific for this?
Yeah, we buy.
It looks greenish. More greenish than normal stuff. Oh yeah.
No, that's just algae growing on top. We have lids go on top of this, and it gets the moisture content goes way up, and algae will grow.
Oh yeah, because you have
and the lids are here. During the day I have it open.
And this is what
it looks like. Where they come in packets of 200. There's 200 wells.
So once we plant the seed in Rockwool, we will take this, once it's ready, we'll take one of the single cells.
Oh, you cut it open?
And no, we take the whole thing and we put it right in here.
Oh,
so that Rockwool, this is still attached to Rockwool.
Megan,
you're okay.
You're breaking it.
So the Rockwool goes straight from here.
There.
And you don't mess with it at all. You just pull the one out that you don't want to grow, and
correct.
Well, we cut
we cut the one that we don't want.
Okay.
Leave the one, and it becomes a beautiful plant.
That is gorgeous. Now, how long does it take to get here?
Well,
so
the date
this
on
was
that
started 11/19. So November 19th.
6 weeks ago. Also, these are being cut back. Also, they're flowering. You can see the flowering. We don't want that to happen. You see all of these here. These have been cut on, and we clone. So see, there's even has a flower there.
Wow.
It's
It's a tiny little flower, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a pepper flower.
That's
what,
amazing.
So this has been cut on a lot
Because he has a lot of nut trees.
for cloning.
He lets the, I don't know what minerals they store in the flowers or in the put towards fruiting.
Well, it has to do not with minerals but with hormones. Okay. And different hormones will induce a switch from vegetative growth to flowering. And we can manipulate that by changing mineral content. We can, if we want to keep them in vegetative growth, we just provide them with a lot of nitrogen and not as much potassium and phosphorus. We want flowering.
Okay, so they're using
we
phosphorus and potassium.
Potassium and phosphorus to increase flowering.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we do.
Because you're not obviously going to inject them with hormones. You're just going to affect their ability to produce those hormones.
Yeah, that's the fun. That's the biochemistry of everything. That's so much fun. The biochemistry of metabolism. And of course, plants take in CO2, create ATP, and kick out O2. It's really, scientists haven't really been able to reproduce that process yet. These are just LED lights that are broad spectrum. We give them a lot of blue. You need blue for vegetative growth. You need red and yellow more for flowering, but we give them the entire spectrum here. That's why you see some flowering here.
This is cool.
This is actually the composition over here.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that earlier.
And so this has rock wool, this has rice hulls, it has perlite, it has vermiculite. But we also this has been mixed 1-to-1 with dirt.
And what one ingredient you leaving out?
Peat moss.
He remembered.
Yeah, I just put it down. And this
moss?
No.
peat moss. Peat moss, we use peat moss and coconut coir, but they both accomplish the same thing. And peat moss is unsustainable. Most people are trying to live away from peat moss. It requires destruction of land to generate it, but it's beautiful stuff. This has a little bit of nutritional value because this is 50% dirt. What you see in there, though, is 100%. There's no soil present in most of those in there.
Yeah.
We also have cloning going in there. They didn't show them cloning.
Oh, on this side. Okay. Keep the clones separated.
Yeah. These have to be kept separated, and they're not. They don't need a lot of light, so we keep them away from the light and everything. But these are just cuttings from those plants over there. So once we get the plants growing, and they're really in good vegetative growth, we can clip the main stem, and then that induces lateral growth. And then once that lateral growth gets about this long, we can clone them. And that's what we're doing here.
Now, why are the clones shade?
Here initially, they don't need sunlight. What you're forcing here is root growth.
Oh, okay.
You want root growth.
Okay.
And now what's here? These are sitting in rock wool, and the rock wool has been put into the coconut coir soilless mixture, and we keep it moist. It's fed special. These are fed hormones that induce root growth.
Okay.
Hopefully this will start filling up here. It's just a way of generating more plants
Without
having
to start with seeds. Yeah, that's smart.
The only disadvantage of this is we don't know the quality of the plant.
Yeah, you could be cloning it.
I could be cloning a plant that produces peppers that would be B grade. We plan on selling a lot of plants come March, April.
Yeah.
We're going to be selling a lot. So I love peppers because they're
farmer, I
so
like to count things.
Their genetics you can manipulate the genetics so easily. They're nightshades, and you can do that with virtually all nightshades. And you can have that one plant producing really great pods and horrible pods. And so we pick the really nice pods. But that doesn't mean the seed that comes from that pod next year is going to produce a really nice, plant full of the same kind of looking pods.
Yeah.
That's just not how the genetics works.
Yeah.
You just never know what you're going to get. We just need lots of plants.
Yeah.
We need to fill this up. And we have another 10 by 20 tent coming. It's been ordered. And we have to fill that up, and then they go from these 4 inchers into grow bags. That's what Steph.
Those black grow bags that you had in the.
So those are the bigger ones.
Thank you.
And then we have these.
These are the kind.
These are 1 gallon.
Now these have to all be. These have been obviously been used, and these have to be cleaned and sterilized. But the 4 inchers will go into this, and when they go into this, they'll go into mostly dirt, and this goes into the greenhouse. And we're hoping to start filling that greenhouse by into February. See, a lot of these need to go into these already once they get to that size that you see in there.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping those for cloning purposes.
Okay.
But eventually we'll start filling these, and we hope to have we got a couple thousand bags. We have to just clean them and use them.
You seem to be having a ball.
I love this stuff.
You want to get a glitter shot.
Got holy moly, ketchup, scorching sun, goose, and crying cowboy out. And then last but not least, the Reaper. So,
Not a little spicy. It's
Yeah.
really spicy.
so Ghost, Crying, holy moly. Most of them are just straight pepper tasters.
Yes. You're up, buddy.
No, it's delicious.
It's so good.
It's got a real smoky flavor.
That's like a put on everything.
Ron, just
My
go
favorite.
get your kitchen spoon. Let's be real here.
The flavors of blackberry and chocolate and heat come through really nicely.
I could not be a sommelier or whatever the hell they're called. Sommelier. I could not be one of those people. I can't make up enough tastes on the fly. I'm like, so that one's definitely more smoky. This one is more fruity, I guess.
Correct.
I'm super articulate in this way.
So this is going to be my yellow watermelon base. So yellow watermelon is the key player. Coyote ketchup is going to be mango based. So if this one had a steady heat, obviously a steady heat, but wasn't kicking my hat off, this one's going to be sweeter to you.
Okay.
If this one is hot for you, this one will be. I'm like, it is the the 2 hot sauces that we make that I will have someone say, "Oh, that was sweet," and then the next person next to him, "No, that wasn't sweet. That was hot. We'll try this one."
Well, they all have it's a progression. It starts off sweet, and then the heat kicks in.
The heat lingers.
That one, now that you said it, that one definitely, obviously got the cheat codes, but that one definitely tastes like watermelon. That one definitely almost even has the consistency more of mango, because mango is more pasty. They're both sweet. Both of these are sweet, but have some spice, have some heat to them. This one I like, right? I'm just going to follow the masses and say that's so far my favorite. There's a reason.
So that's going to be Crying Cowboy. That's award-winning.
That's a lot more liquidy than the other one.
Yeah. And this one's going to be Prickly Pear Cactus.
Never eaten one of those in my life.
They're absolutely delicious. I've ate way too many of them.
I wouldn't call it sour.
That umami taste that you're tasting right now, that's the depth of flavor. And
Yeah.
it
Definitely still, you can tell it still has, obviously peppers are fruits too, but
Correct.
it definitely still has a fruit, much less than these ones.
Yeah.
But definitely has a fruit. I don't taste fruit in that one
yeah.
at all. Like I know there's fruit in there, but I don't taste it. That one, I still can't put my finger on it. It's weird. It's good. It's delicious. But I don't know, like I said, I'm not a,
Professional taste tester.
yeah, that's not me. All right, so this is ghost pepper.
Straight Ghost.
Oh, it's gonna mess me up.
You're very careful with that one.
It was interesting because out of last conversation, when we were in the greenhouse with your dad, and I was like, okay, your dad's not going to be the one to get to the ghost pepper.
Oh, yeah.
But he was, come on.
Ed loves a challenge. He loves novelty. Absolutely. Yeah. So if he can be like, oh yeah, I went all the way to the top.
So with ghost pepper.
Well, now I can tell. Yeah, this is how I know. I've had ghost pepper before, and it's the same every single time. Starts off like tasty, and then it ramps up.
Well, and that's so. What I tell everyone about the ghost pepper is it in the series of super hots. It's the last, in my opinion, that you're going to actually get flavor from the pepper itself, plus the heat. Once you go to Carolina Reaper, it's just pain and heat.
Yeah.
Is
that the last one?
That's the last one.
Okay, so we're already here. Yeah. We're having our own little hot ones right now. Save the last tastes.
I did it.
Yeah, I need to shake that one up a bit. There we go. All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's no roasty
smell. Toasty flavors.
It just smells like heat.
So this one, the heat is gonna ensue pretty fast.
Yep. I'm ready.
But so with most people, you know, what the heat of a Reaper is going to do is going to go up. It's like a roller coaster. You know, it starts dissipating. If you have a heat tolerance for most things, it's going to be a little more mild for you. In that that roller coaster won't grab you by the neck.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, I can still taste some stuff out of there. My tongue is so saturated with saliva right now, I can't hardly talk.
See, I told you he was going to come back with a kitchen spoon.
This is such good hot sauce.
And this is why we can't keep the product on our shelves. I think he's sneaking in every evening.
That is so creamy. The blackberry comes through. The chocolate. Datu Puti vinegar at the end is unusual. A Vietnamese fermented cane vinegar.
Huh. That's actually not, like, now, mind you, obviously one little dollop. I haven't slathered something in it. But so far, I'm not, like, dying. I'm not dying on all this stuff.
No.
Yeah, and it's about you have that good balance of heat, sweet.
So where do you guys source your seeds?
We harvest them all ourselves.
Okay.
But when we do have to go buy seeds, we try to, and we spend our money. And so this is going to be mango habanero.
So hotter than that one.
Yeah, a little hotter than that one. But we try to purchase good seeds from good, reputable people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells like mango. You could mess somebody up. You take this and put it in like an apricot jar. A jar. It looks just like apricot jelly, right? You put that in there and be like, oh yeah, you want some English muffins? Oh, be great. You know, butter it. Oh, let me get a little bit. You want some jelly? Oh yeah. Just smatter that on there. Be good though.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah, it tastes like mangoes.
And that's that Guatemalan habanero that I was talking about in the field. That is.
Now I can taste the habanero. It takes a little bit.
But
once again, it's kind of smoky.
Very smooth. It's not a heat that hits you and you're going, hold the phone. Like,
yeah, you can actually have.
You could enjoy.
You can have that on a piece of toast and actually enjoy the toast.
It's actually very delicious on toast with butter, and just that.
That's good stuff.
Okay, I'm taking off. Just for your information, I just started 136 more. 50 of those are new red ghost pepper seeds that I purchased.
You too. Really enjoyed doing a little bit of geeking out.
Time you come back this way, bring your tools.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you, Megan.
Thank you. Man, let's see the drying setup outside.
Oh yes, yes.
There's that pretty dog.
Oh, you big dog.
Oh yeah, he's a sweetie pie.
Met Hercules before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the sweetest dog I've ever had.
Yes.
Smartest too. No, he has equal moral status. That includes food.
He's like Missy. Missy eats human food. She's not had a single piece of dog food since we got her. Since we found her in the woods.
His dog eats better than all three of us every day of the week. I guarantee it. That dog actually gets heated food. These are our drying racks, but we bring them out of the field in bushel baskets, lay them all out.
And this is where you sort.
And this is where we sort, and it allows the pepper to dry and not be all bunched up. We have 2 of these. This winter, I'm building us a lot better ones, because these are just old door frames. Literally,
It looks like a screen door.
it is a old door frame. I built this one in a panic because we thought we were having a freeze 2 years ago, and I needed to harvest about 400 pounds worth of peppers, and these will not fit nearly that amount. And so I built that one in a panic and was like, I'll just throw another screen door on top of it and call it a day. I designed some that are going to be made out of metal, square tubing, and they're going to be on caster wheels, so I could wheel them all about the shop. And if I don't need to use them, I could even wheel them out to right where they're standing right now.
And it makes it easier whenever you go to involve a kid. So
Correct.
you can get a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old out there helping.
Correct.
And I just think people don't think about that at all.
That's
not her place.
Make everything functional, even for me and you. Just because I could sit here and go, oh yeah, I could lift the front end of that thing and pull the engine out, put it on my shoulder, run it this way. Well, if I'm not here and my son's doing it, I need to make it functional for someone else, because I do get called away. I want to be able to go, okay, it's on wheels, do this. You're good. And this behind me is the Airbnb. This is actually the original building that was on this property. This building's over 100 years old. Of course, I did some remodeling. The original owner, this is where him and his family started. And the interesting story, every time he had a kid, he built a new structure. And he was a builder, and actually his wife would draw the design of the structure on a napkin, and he would replicate it. My wife does a similar thing. Actually, she's doing it as we speak right now for our chicken coop.
Was this building here?
This building was here.
Wow.
So this was the very first building. Then he built the double door building, which we call Cabin 1. Had his first child. His wife and him lived in one half, and are on one side, and his kid was on the other. He had the second child, so moved both children into there, and then built the middle cabin. Had the third child, and built the house.
Yeah, he's like, we're getting a big enough house.
And literally all the kids lived in those units, and they turned this was a washroom. For the laundry.
It's kind of dry.
Yeah.
Not dry, but you didn't have this is super cool.
We spent the entire day touring the farm with David, and we cannot wait to come back in the spring. If you would like to book a stay at the farm or buy anything they produce, check out the description of this video, where we have links to their listing, their website, and contact information so you can place an order. Huge thanks to David and Dr. Ron for having us out, and special thanks to David's other half, Hannah, who initially invited us. I hope we've earned a like and maybe even your subscription. See you next week.